Today's scenario is scenario number 7 from the SR 2015 pack, Outflank. Has two 12-inch diameter zones along the center line. There's no kill box. Each player receives 1 control point for controlling a zone and 2 control points for dominating a zone, for a total of 3 points available in a turn. The first to 5 wins.
Hey everybody, this is Solus. For today's game, I decided to go with Epic, Saeryn, and Rhyas. Talons of Everblight, our new release from Devastation. For today I went with a Seraph, Zuriel, a Nephilim Protector, a Shredder, and a Naga Nightlurker. And then I went with a unit of Hex Hunters along with Baal, which is going to be kind of, I guess, a controversial choice. I like him mainly because it gives the unit advanced deploy. I've been sort of playing around between him and a spawning vessel. Paying 3 points to give a unit advanced deploy isn't terribly fantastic. I'll have to do some more testing.
Alright, hey gang, Warmachinist here, and there is no need to adjust your viewing monitor. This is indeed the list that you're looking at. This is Egrim Hunting Party Tier 4. And basically you're going to be seeing things you might never seen before, like a Swamp Troll is in there, and he's actually really important. And you're going to see 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Thumper Crews. You're going to see a mini unit of Pyg Bushwakers and a unit of Trollkin Scouts. There's a good chance that there are models in this list that have never before been seen in your meta. And the funny thing about it is you pile all this big pile of poop together and you get a really pretty fun and cool list to play. I mean, and look at this guy. He's carrying a pig. I mean, if you got a guy carrying a pig, how can you lose? Alright, so I'm deploying first, and the really amazing thing about this tier list is, number one, it extends my deployment zone an extra 2 inches. And all those light beasts you saw in the lineup, they all get advanced deploy. So think of this as kind of like a version of Elemental Evolution backed up with Thumper Crews, and a pretty amazing feat with Grim. So it's probably the most fun list that I've played in the last year.
So as far as deployment goes, I generally go with the twins right in the middle, and then the Protector more or less behind them to hand out the shield guards, or, you know, put its Animus up or whatever. I put the Black Frost Shard off on a flank. I set up the Seraph and Zuriel close together on my left, and I'm basically going to try and sort of split up a little bit, try and contest both zones with the Deathstalkers, and then hopefully get some work out of the Hex Hunters.
Alright, as I mentioned, all these light warbeasts get advanced deploy, and one of the cool things about this list compared to, for example, Calander's tier list is you can take Impalers, and you know, a 2-inch extended advanced deployment zone with guys that can dish out the far strikes. You can't get more fun than playing this list, and it's been actually real successful for me in play testing. So this is kind of like its first foray into a super competitive game, but we'll see how it goes. These Pyg Bushwhackers are really going to be used for mark the target, and they space out perfectly.
For advanced deployment, I put a Deathstalker on, or one on each flank. They're going to help contest zones for me. And then I put the Hex Hunters in the center using the advanced deployment from Baal. Of course, I did see the fact that he had some Pyre Trolls. I went in with the intention of splitting up just in case, you know, a good scatter or something. But then I promptly forgot to do so.
Alright, so Trolls turn 1. So again, some of the tier benefits, I'm just going to go over them again. Your Thumper Crews cost 1 point less. You can have 1 for every unit in your army. Something you don't see on the table yet is that Trollkin Scouts gain ambush. And they have got to be the best ambushing unit in the game as far as I can be concerned. And so right now, one of the things that is real fun to do with this list is to far strike everything kind of manually the first time you want to shoot, and then on Egrim's feet everything gets far strike again. So you really can take stuff off the table before it gets to you. Of course, not tonight. I've been waiting forever to debut this this list to the channel, and my opponent Solus has not been so kind in his list selection to play against it, as in everything in his army pretty much has stealth. We'll get around that the best we can. We're going to try to get a little drift action here with the Pyre Troll, and you know, this goes back to anyone that's seen any of my games on the channel. It's if there's a chance to drift backwards, I'm going to drift backwards. So we miss on that one. But anyways, I can get these light warbeasts up the table. You know, this is the last thing I'll say about this list compared to Calandra is you don't have a Creel Stone in this tier, so the light warbeasts are easier to take off the table, I guess. However, you do get things like the Swamp Troll, which, I mean, bear with me on this. Putting his Animus up is actually kind of a pain for a lot of different people. It's got Swarm, which gives them 2 defense or concealment. So, really the goal in this game is going to be is how do I make use of a range list against a stealth list. Oftentimes when you build your list, you have certain plans in mind, and you know, one of the things your opponents are doing and should be trying to do is come up with a counter to your plan. And so in this particular circumstance, I'm not going to call them dead weight, but I've got a lot of stuff in here that's going to have to really kind of find unique ways to contribute to this particular game. One of the fun things to do with this list is to play the objective that boosts all your artillery. No objectives in this scenario, but we'll see how it goes.
So going into turn 1, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do against this army. I've got a lot of stealth, which is nice. So the Thumper Crews aren't really going to hurt me. I'm more worried about the Bushwhackers and the battle group itself. With the army that I ended up dropping on the table against it, there aren't that many targets that the Thumper Crews can actually shoot at, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Realistically, what I probably should end up doing was going with the Deathstalkers and trying to shoot the Bushwhackers instead of the Thumpers, mainly because if I kill the Bushwhackers, it cuts down on the number of mobile feet targets that he has, and realistically, killing the Thumper Crews doesn't really do a whole lot. I think he can really shoot at, let's see, like the Seraph, Zuriel if he's outside of Rhyas' control area. You know, everything else can pretty much get cover or stealth, so it's not a huge concern. Should have started with the Bushwhackers, but it didn't. So I end up killing a couple of guys from, or a guy from one of the Thumper Crews on my left flank, and I knock down the Thumper on my right flank, but he made his tough check, so I don't get to do anything like Snapfire or Swift Hunter, which makes me sad. So I end up debating whether or not to run or charge with the Hex Hunters. I don't think I'm going to get a whole lot of good shots off with them, but I figured I might as well give it a shot. And then I proceed to miss a whole bunch of 7s. By all, you know, he's an 8 or a 7, so he should have had a little bit easier time, but apparently not. So I think I dinged up one of the Slag Trolls, and that's about it. Yeah, missed a whole bunch of 7s. Apparently I could not roll dice that turn. So I go ahead with the Blackfrost Shard, and they advance. They give themselves stealth, and I'm still trying to just sort of whittle down the Bushwhackers. If I can force him to break, that would be fantastic. Other than that, cutting down numbers on a unit is one less thing that I'll have to deal with. I decided the Naga is pretty much more important behind cover. You can't knock it down with Thumper Crew, but it doesn't like taking a POW 14 hit. So I just leave it behind cover. It's also can be useful as a transfer battery if necessary. So I end up going with the twins, and I slipstream with Saeryn. I slipstream the Seraph a little bit forward. Rhyas puts up occultation on the unit, and then I hand out a bunch of tenacities. Go ahead and shoot with the Seraph after it moves up. I get a bunch of shots, and I'm shooting at the Slag Troll, so I'm trying to actually hurt the Slag Troll. So I end up missing, and I kill the Bushwhacker. And I decide to change dice because everybody knows that helps. And I don't end up doing a whole lot of damage to the Slag Troll. I don't think. I maybe take in an aspect or something, but it's still going to be there, and it's still going to be a pain to deal with. I go with the Protector. It walks up and it just riles. I'm looking at the table and going, oh wait, yeah, I needed to put out some fury, or some other fury. So I go ahead, I run Zuriel up, and then I do some quick math and figure out that the Shepherd needs to take off some fury. And that was my turn 1.
Troll's turn 2. So Solus was just picking on those Bushwhackers, man. He didn't give them a moment to breathe. However, I think there's 2 left, and they passed their command check. So all operations are still a go. I believe we are going to be bringing on the scouts this turn. And as I said, and I think this is what's going on right now, they are the absolute most smashing ambusher unit in the game when they can ambush. And that happens to only be in this tier list. So kind of the reason I threw this list together is you get ambushing scouts, the advanced deploy extension, and the light warbeast extension. So those were the sort of the attractions. I mean, and who doesn't want to play 4 Thumper Crews, right? So at this point I have Mirage on the top Thumper Crew, and they're kind of shimmying up into that zone. Again, everything has frickin' stealth, so it's not an ideal matchup here. So I have been presented some problems by Solus here, and I kind of play this game a little bit. I talked to Fort before we played, because I never played against Saeryn and Rhyas, and so he kind of talked to me about the whole feat where if one's killed, the other one can run up and feat the other one back, and then that one can all of a sudden charge, and it kind of had me a little bit I guess freaked out, and I will say that, not freaked out, but definitely playing maybe overly cautious, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that I just have problems the first time I ever face a caster. I can read about it on the net, I can hear people discuss it, but until I got it on the table and actually have a chance to play against it, it's 50-50 at best. So it's kind of one of the reasons why you want to get out there and play games. So one of the great things about these ambushers is they have assault. So we come in at speed 6, 3 inches on the side of the table. So we're going like what's that now? 12 inches, and we throw 4 more inches. So it's about like a 16.5, 17-inch threat range from the edge of the table when these puppies come on. So the Shepherd was just out, which was fine. I didn't necessarily think I'd get her. But we're going to go after this Deathstalker, and one of the Hex Hunters. Another nice thing about these guys is they have gang. So if you ignore them, then you're going to get yourself in a whole world of hurt. You know, it's one of those things where you can actually kind of dictate how this game's going to be played. And if you'll notice, Solus has got almost everything packed up into the middle of the board. Nothing's really flanking too hard, and that's usually the ideal situation for the list I'm playing. Again, what's not ideal is everything having friggin' stealth. So I believe the Bushwhackers bushwhacked. Maybe not. So if nothing else, I think they're moving up right now to be in mark the target range. In case I decide I want to feat. Look at those guys getting their points out. I'm not exactly sure what happened to my Bushwhacker. Maybe I don't know. That was weird. I'll have to find out. Maybe something has counter blast. I don't know. Anyways, if you know what happened to it, Taldark, put it up on the screen. People want to know why that Bushwhacker just disappeared. I don't think he took a free strike. But anyways, here we go. I am now going to start coming up with some activations for our glorious warbeasts, I believe. So I think the thing that's happening right now is I'm trying to think, do I want to use my feet this turn? Grimm's feet really does help. His accuracy, it gives everything snipe, or +4 inches rather, and anything within 5 inches kind of gives another additional +2 to hit for other things that are shooting. So right now it looks like I'm moving up, and I'm definitely going to feat because I want to get that knockdown gun on Zuriel, and I believe that Zuriel is one of the few things that actually can be knocked down. Now he's got stealth on everything, which is, again, I'm going through this like really everything has stealth. So what we're looking for right now is if I plop down Mage Sight, where is it going to land? And who can I get in it and all that type of good stuff. And I kind of feel like I would have a chance to maybe charge Zuriel with that Slag Troll that's kind of towing the zone down at the bottom. But we're going to see here what type of work can I get done. So we're dropping down the Mage Sight. And I believe Rhyas is like a centimeter or so out of it, which is unfortunate. But the way I see it is if we can take that arc node off the table, I'm going to be feeling pretty good. So I believe I roll a boosted to hit, and boosted damage on Zuriel because I kind of wanted to give it Hunter's Mark to allow the Slag to charge it for free. And I believe I did like no damage to it. So Grimm's PAL 13 magic gun did little to no damage. I was unable to knock anything down with the other guy, and we're reforming forward. And Grimm's gonna go back because, again, worried about the threat ranges. Those 2 tents in the middle of the board we decided are obstacles, so those aren't gonna really come into play as far as it does block line of sight. So right now we're gonna go up and see what type of work we can get done. And I kind of messed myself up right here. This is where I really messed up. This Slag that just went should not have gone yet. I should have had him just stay where he was or just inch around the side to kill the Hex Hunters that were in the Mage Sight bubble. But him coming up here kind of blocks the charge lane of the other Slag Troll. So I'm now not going to be able to get to charge Zuriel. And anybody that's played any of the light warbeast spam and trolls knows that you can get a definite range game going and do some serious damage. So the one difference is, in this list, if you do come into some bad dice, you're not going to improve them. So now the Slag in question is going to be relegated to shooting. And just to make matters a little worse, I wound up just taking off, I think, a Hex Hunter because I've kind of blocked that lane now. So, what to do with these Thumper Crews? Well, I think one of the first things we're going to try is this even Thumper Crew yet? Yep, it is Thumper Crew. I think I'm going to try to slam one of my own beasts into one of his Hex Hunters. At least at some point that came through my mind. One of the things you'll notice is that he doesn't have a very big presence in the zones. And I feel like I'm pushed far enough forward that at least the top zone I'm really going to get a chance to score on. So it's not going to be hopefully too difficult to clear that area out, and then I don't think he's got a lot that can come over there and contest, and the scouts kind of are helping to tie up the pieces on his team that would do a good job contesting. So there's definitely a scenario in play in this game. So right now the Impaler is going up to melee the Deathstalker, and because why not, since I can't shoot anything, let's actually take him out the old-fashioned way, boosting the hit. So it's walk up 5 inches, boost the hit, and take Deathstalker off table. So now, I mean, that zone is pretty much cleared out. Thumper Crew is going to move up. It doesn't really have, I believe, anything it wants to shoot at. So one of the things you have to remember, it's running basically. So one of the things you have to remember with Thumper Crews is that, you know, it surprises the heck out of people. They actually have weapons. They can charge. They're a unit. And, you know, that's something else that, like I said, you got to keep coming up with ways to get creative. So pass a turn and let's see how it goes.
So going into turn 2, I'm looking at possibly trying to assassinate Grim, but it doesn't look terribly fantastic. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what to do. My Hex Hunters broke, and my Deathstalker, both my Deathstalkers died, so that's not good. I was kind of hoping that they would avoid dying and help me contest zones, but ambushing scouts or whatever those things are pretty good, and leaving a Deathstalker out in the open, probably not my best idea. But I was kind of hoping that he'd fail his tough check, I would Snapfire and then Swift Hunter into the woods. Unfortunately, Tough sort of threw that plan into the trash. So, trying to figure out what I want to do here. I think that I can possibly kill 2 Slag Trolls that are on my left flank, as well as maybe get marked for death on Grim. That would be fantastic. So, I do need to get rid of, I do need to deal with the Slag Trolls there. So after leeching, I go with the Naga, and it shoots at the Slag Troll in the front. I boost a hit, fishing for the crit, for critical poison. I managed to hit that and boost the damage roll. I think I leave the Slag Troll alive on like 2 points, something like that. So not a bad showing for the Naga. So I go ahead with the Protector. It charges the scouts. Not really trying to kill them, mainly trying to just, you know, tie him up a little bit. The thing has reach, and it's POW 12, which pretty much, if I manage to hit, kind of auto kills the, well, besides Tough. The fact that my Hex Hunters are broken is a little awkward, but I think that I can still manage to deal with it. I go ahead with Zuriel. He flies over, taking a free strike. I don't think I got hit. And then I put up his Animus and spray I believe that's Crump, or it might be Muggs, whichever one has the knockdown gun, because that thing's annoying. So I lit him on fire. He makes his tough check, and then I managed to kill 2 of the Thumper Crews. And now I'm thinking about it. I have another shot, so I buy it, and I manage to just hit the other pig buddy guy. It's either Mugs or Crump, whichever one has the trap, I think. Either one. Either way. So I set him on fire, because that's good. And then I go with the Black Frost Shard, who walk back behind the wall for some cover, give themselves stealth, and then I try for the harm, but I screw up my order, so I throw an Ice Cage after missing the harm. I should have thrown the Ice Cage first and then tried throwing harm. But, you know, -2 defense, that's always good, and it'll help, you know, people hit a little bit easier. So I have my charges lined up, and I think it's possible to kill maybe 3 warbeasts, but I don't like banking on things like that. But in this case, I'm a little bit behind and should probably do as much as I can, at least, you know, damage-wise. I have the Shepherd advance and heal up the Seraph, and then I put Tenacity on Rhyas with the Shredder. I go ahead and boost a Marked for Death at Grim with Saeryn, and manage to hit that, so that's exciting. And then they've taken the charge order, so I go ahead and charge. Rhyas charges the one Slag Troll, and I go so that I have both the Impaler and the Slag Troll in my melee, so some flashing blades. And then Saeryn, who needs to roll a 9 on a boosted damage roll to kill the Slag Troll and avoid getting corroded, manages to do so. So, the charge attack on the Slag Troll hits, and I do some damage. And then I proceed to cast a bunch of flashing blades and manage to do some more damage, which is always good. So I kill the Slag Troll, and I try very hard to kill the Impaler, but it doesn't really work out. I leave it alive on a couple of points, and I decide to sit on 2 transfers. And then Saeryn puts Safeguard on herself. She's defense 16, and I'm fairly sure that not a lot of things can actually get to her. But she's got some transfers, and she also has Safeguard, so she can't be knocked down, which is useful. Seraph goes ahead. It's not engaged, so it goes ahead and aims, and then shoots 2 of the scouts that are in the zone. And my Hex Hunters rally, which is nice. A little bit late, but you know, maybe they'll be useful next turn.
Alright, so Troll's turn 3. So, for our players out there right now, let's take a little pause at this juncture in the game and think, you know, how does one win at this point? I've scored a point in the top zone, and the way to win this game is to run Grim to the back as far away at the end of the zone as possible, retreat all my stuff into the back of that top zone, and score up to 3 points, and then whatever he sends into the zone, clear it out, and then game over. However, that's another reality. Let's talk about what actually is going to occur in this game. So one of the problems is, of course, I couldn't take all the fury off my beasts, and the Impaler's frenzying right now. I couldn't be more happy with the scouts. They are tying up the entire top part of that board, or he's tying the scouts up. I guess it depends which way you want to look at it. However, it's where I want it to be, because I want the ultimately my action is going to be to get into that top zone. So both Mugs and Crump were on fire, at the start of this turn, and of course the one that died is the reform guy. It's kind of the way it works, right? So anyways, I see myself, this Zuriel really feels like he's bugging me. I don't like the fact that he's an arc, and I'm going to start throwing Thumper Crew shots into him. So he's been knocked down. I've gotten a mortality on top of him, or I'm doing that now. And I guess in my zeal to showcase the list and what it can do, I'm now attempting to show how it can take a Zuriel off the table. And in doing so, I am going to go through a ridiculously cold streak of damage dice. That's all the best way I can explain it. So I think at the end of all this, I think 3 Thumper Crews, at least 2 of them hitting that POW of 16 because of mortality, really aren't gonna put that guy in the dirt. I think I leave him on like 1 or 2 health, and as you know from playing Hordes, that 1 or 2 health is simply just not good enough. You know, again, I kind of told you the strategy that I should have gone with, is to simply run Grim back of that zone, score the points like I was talking about, and then just flood his other zone with Thumper Crews. I mean, if nothing else, they can just run in there and make tough checks. However, let's have some fun, right? So now the Pyre Troll is going to set Zuriel on fire. So that dude is corroded on fire at like 2 or 3 health or something like that when the time this is all done. And I'm having a good time with these scouts as they start flanking up there, engaging beasts, killing shepherds. I guess it's a Bloodseer that they're kind of fighting. I can't say all my dice are bad at this point. They do some, they probably outswing their weight class even with gang. They don't take them off the table, but they sure do kind of beat them up. So the character unit that he has, I guess the Black Frost Shard guys, whatever they're called, are just too much defense behind that wall, I feel, for the Rat 4 Storm Troll to really go after him. So instead, we're gonna see what he can get done just as far as clearing out Hex Hunters. I'm now trying to create kind of, I guess, like a fortress around Grim. I know that Zuriel has acrobatics, but I'm trying to make it so she doesn't have a real good landing zone without clearing anything up. So I've got pigs in the back and beasts in the front. See how it goes.
Alright, so going into my turn 3, my opponent is up by 3 control points, and that was a calculated risk on my part. I knew he couldn't win the game, probably couldn't win the game anyway, in his last turn. So I just sort of abandoned the plan, contesting the zones, and now I'm more or less gunning for a straight scenario win, or excuse me, a straight assassination win, because that seems to be about my only choice. So I go ahead, I leech my Fury, and Zuriel needs a frenzy check because there's 2 Fury left on him, but he manages to pass. Of course, he is knocked down and his spirit is out, so that is unfortunate. So I go with the Black Frost Shard. I will completely forget that Mark for Death will let me let friendly factions see target models regardless of line of sight. I throw some ice cages, and I managed to hit, I think, one of them, dropping his defense effectively by 4. And then he bumps up 2 because he has the Swamp Troll Animus. I go with Zuriel, and he will take a free strike from the pig, who unfortunately did not burn to death in last turn. But because I couldn't shake off the knockdown, he advances and does nothing else. So I go with the Protector. It cleans off the Seraph, and then I'm trying to do some calculations here. I go ahead and boost a shot at Grim with the Naga. Mainly I'm just trying to knock off some of his transfers right now. So I boost damage. He has to transfer the damage. And now he's only got the one transfer. So I go ahead with the Seraph. The Seraph advances. It puts up Slipstream and then slips Rhyas a little bit closer. And here I really feel like I may have made a mistake because I've now blocked Saeryn in, but I completely just brain farted on that one. It goes ahead, it shoots Grim. I hit him a couple of times, I think. Do some decent damage to him. And then the twins go. And I'm trying to figure out how badly did I screw myself. It turns out that I think I'm okay. So I go ahead, I declare the charge. Before charging, I boost a Razor Wind at Grim. And then I go ahead and boost damage. And I do some okay damage, nothing great. Then I throw an unboosted one and miss. Rhyas charges Grim, and Saeryn charges that poor little Hex Hunter. I manage to stay in command, and then I just start hitting Grim. With the -2, he's defense 14 effectively, and so I need 6s to hit him. So I end up just not boosting. I managed to actually hit the 6, and then I do some fairly significant damage on my charge that he has to transfer off, and then I managed to do enough damage on my subsequent attack that would force him to make a tough check, which he then fails. Go last-ditch assassination.
Alright, so there you have it. I get to have the afterthoughts this time. I had my warbeasts just a little bit too close to Grim. The trick is, with her having acrobatics, I didn't want to give him a landing spot for Rhyas to get on Grim. And if I had pushed those beasts out just a little bit further, then she wouldn't have had reach on Grim. I tried to keep Grim safe with the Swamp Troll Animus, giving him an extra 2 basic defense. The turn before that, I put the Pyre Troll's Animus on him so that he pretty much took the a shooting kill off the table the turn before when I feeded. So, I mean, this list, I mean, it has a lot of idiosyncrasies, a lot of little things that you can do with it. And really is a collection of some of the, what's typically thought of as the worst pieces in Trolls. And as you can see, even this is probably like one of the worst matchups you could possibly have, and it's still played competitively as far as I'm concerned. And again, I think I got way hung up in wanting to show off the list and its capabilities, and didn't just go for that scenario when I was given that point at the beginning of turn 3. Instead of just moving Grim into the zone and trying to protect him up like I do, the play is you run them all the way to the back of the zone, you retreat all your stuff, and anything that enters in the zone, you just clear out, and then you're up to 5 points. That's, hindsight. But what I would like to say is that, it's one of those things where actually, if you get a chance to play a list like this, I mean, I busted out at the shop, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Warmachine has the 4 Thumper Crew list again, and the eyes roll, and people will come up and they'll disrespect it, and it's killed Denny 3, it's killed Haley 1, it's killed Kruger, it's killed Cassius. So I mean, it's a heck of a lot of fun to play that list, and I highly recommend it if you get a chance. If you ever want to hit me up on the forums, go right ahead. I'll talk about it all day long. Hats off to Solus. He played an excellent game. He made it to with the slipstream and the arcing through Zuriel. Oh my god, how did that thing not die? But anyways, those types of things, and he did exactly what was needed to get his pretty much like 100% kill on the table. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys later.